everybody, good evening. Welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news. And first of all, I would raise a drink. I don't know where it is. We got through another week. It's Friday. It's the 8 o'clock show. This is the place to be. The best shows on the United Stand and I think the best anywhere. I'm going to pose the question to you straight away. If Ruben Amorim says this, and I'm not actually ready because I've not actually got the quote here, but there's a few things I want to say about the Sesko scenario. I think it's embarrassing, but that's not what I want to look at. Okay, this is what I wanted to look at. I want you to answer this question. He says, in the moment, we need to be careful when we sign a player. And if I start the season with this squad, I will be happy. We've heard from Amorim. We've addressed that. If we start this season with this squad, will you be happy and why? Or if you're unhappy, why? That's the posed question tonight for the Friday night show. Because I've seen clips of people. I've seen tweets from people. I've seen people who've just watched Ruben Amorim give an interview and basically climbed right up the Glazers' arse and said, I'm really happy with these signings and I think we're in for a good season. And I just want to know why. What makes you think we're in for a good season? Because I look at Newcastle going for a striker we should be going for. I look at our manager basically saying we're not going for a striker before the start of the season. And I go, Liverpool are about to get Isak and they've already got Ekitike. Manchester City have got one of the best strikers in the world. Chelsea have bought Pedro and Delap. Arsenal have bought Gyökeres, who should have been coming to us. And Newcastle are bringing in Sesko. So I sort of look at it and go, we needed a striker, and all of the supposed big clubs in this league have bought strikers. On top of that, games are won and lost in the midfield. Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal have got midfields that will tear us apart on paper. I mean, it doesn't mean we can't beat them in a one-off game. We've been doing that for years. But across a 38-game season, they've got a better midfield than us by a long way. Newcastle have got a better midfield than us, easily. Gomes, Tonali, Joel Linton. I think Villa have got better options in their midfield than us. So that's another 6 clubs that have got better midfields than us. I've just named 5 who've got better attacking options than us. The whole league has got a better goalkeeper than us. But there's positivity. We'll be happy to start the season with this squad. And it's not about moaning. It's not about sensationalism. It's about realism. We finished 15th last year. We haven't strengthened our striker. We haven't strengthened our goalkeeper. And our midfield is factually probably about the 11th best midfield in the league. Maybe lower. So Spurs have definitely got a bit better midfield options than us. They might have had a crap season, but Bergval's good. Bentancur's good. Basuma and Sarr are better. They've got better midfielders than us. Cunha's not a striker and he's not a midfielder and he's not a goalkeeper. I'm happy with Cunha and I'm happy with Mbeumo. We're talking about the 3 pillars of the team that we haven't sorted. Stop trying to class Cunha as a bloody goalkeeper or whatever it is you're trying to do. Look, I think the thing that irritates me as well is that I'm watching Newcastle have a free run at Sesko and I'm like, I'm watching our manager basically say, you know, this is what we're going to start the season with. And as much as I like Rasmus and I'd love him to do well, and I think there are still some of us who believe that, we all know we need a striker, and it's not being anti-Rasmus. We needed a striker when we brought Rasmus in. We needed a striker last year. Xerxes not a striker. We need another striker. We've always needed an experienced striker. And yet again, for the 3rd year in a row, we're not going to have it. Basically, since Ronaldo left, we haven't had a striker. And that's been, you know, United's plan. For 3, I don't think people think this through. We actually haven't replaced Ronaldo. It's like Roy Keane. Never bloody replaced him. What is it about Man United that don't replace legendary players? Like, we haven't replaced Ronaldo since he did the Piers Morgan interview. Rasmus is a kid. Obi's 17. We haven't replaced Ronaldo. Tell me the replacement. We haven't. Martial was injury prone. Xerxes not really a striker. So I think that, look, the team is in a good place. Amorim is conveying hope. But there is a reality. And I actually want to get your thoughts, because I can't believe that we are sat here 3 weeks out from the start of a very big season without a pot to piss in financially, conveying hope when we haven't plugged 3 big holes in our team that finished 15th last year. If ever the word spin was more appropriate, it's now. It just feels like spin. In fact, I wouldn't even use spin. I'll use more words than that. It feels to me at the moment that our whole season is based on a glow up. And what I mean by that is we're basically looking at people like Harry Maguire, Casemiro, Bruno, De Ligt, Luke Shaw, Delot, Onana, Rasmus, Xerxes, Mount. We're looking at all these players and hoping that the vast majority of them go to a level they weren't really at last season, and that Cunha and Mbeumo are good as well. We're basically asking for a glow up because we've not done anything really. Cunha and Mbeumo, good signings, but the rest of the team was here last year, failed, and we're asking them to basically glow up with a pre-season. We're basically hoping that a pre-season is going to be enough to turn around our worst Premier League season in history. That's a big ask. I mean, I hope it's right. Fingers crossed, I really do. But I personally think this is shameful from the ownership. I don't really know what Ruben Amorim's meant to do, by the way. I've seen some people in the chat going in on Amorim. I don't know what you're meant to do 3 weeks out from the start of the season when they buy you Cunha and Mbeumo. You've still got an Onana in goal. You've not got a striker. And your midfield looks like that. I think it's a tough ask. I really do. I really, really do. But look, you get your thoughts in as well. And as I said, surveying the week as a whole, because it is Friday, I found my drink. Cheers. Hope you're all having a good one. Love the 8 o'clock shows. I think it's been a disappointing week in relation to strikers. Obviously, we started the week on Sunday with some faint hope that we might hijack a Gyökeres deal. He's now going to be an Arsenal player. We then thought maybe we could go for Sesko, and we ruled that out. And then Ollie Watkins is the priority, and we seem to be doing next to nothing about that as well. The only positive is that we've sort of dismissed ourselves from the Nicholas Jackson deal, but give us time. So, yeah, I think it's been a disappointing week. I mean, obviously, it was good to get the Mbeumo deal done after 6 years, but yeah, and Rashford going to Barcelona on loan was about as good as it was going to get. But I think it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing for Manchester United, just the volume, the striker market as well. I mean, look, I half think, I wonder if United wished that they could have said there's no value in the market, because they've been left totally exposed, really, haven't they? Because everybody knows we need a striker. And I've never known a striker market like it. From Delap, through Gyökeres, Ekitike, Isak, Sesko, Osimhen. I mean, there's more. There's so many bloody strikers out there. I mean, there are so many strikers out there. And we're sat here in late July without one. It is incredible, really. And I'm not happy about that. But what can you do? What can you do? I mean, it's a little bit like waking up on Christmas Day morning and you've been promised all sorts of presents, and then basically you open them up and it's presents you've already got. This is my skateboard from the garage, Dad. I know, but you haven't been using it properly. I'm going to teach you how to use it properly and you'll get more fun out of it. Okay, pass me my next present then. That's my Man United kit from last year. I wanted the new one. No, but look at it. Look at it. It's vintage. Vintage is coming back. You know, it's got it's as good as new, but it's not the latest one. Yeah, but it's not about that. It's still a bloody good shirt. All right, pass me my next present. That's the cornflakes from the fridge, mate. Don't call me mate. I'm your father. It is like that's how I feel. It's just a repackaged same squad apart from Cunha and Mbeumo, and that's it. I can't believe we're meant to be excited about that. And I go back, before I start going into your comments, I go back into the people that are positive, and that is their right. Of course it is. My only question to you is, what are you positive about? Because we can all pretend to be positive for whatever reason we're doing it, but what is it you're positive about? That's what I want. I really want to know, because as I say, from this point with Cunha and Mbeumo, if Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal had done no transfers, they'd still be better than us. And this is a great point. If Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal bought nobody and we bought Cunha and Mbeumo, I would still sit here and say that's not enough. If they'd bought nobody. They've bought better than us. So what are we being positive about? I don't feel we've closed the gap on anybody in the top 8. I don't. I think you could argue that we've got a chance of moving past the likes of Brighton and Nottingham Forest, but I don't think. I think Spurs will look at them. I think Spurs will look at United and go, we can move past them, even though we finished below them. So, yeah. What do you think he meant by we're going to suffer? Got no idea. Clayton says, every season United just knows how to drain the little bit of optimism we have, says Clayton. No, I don't. I really don't agree with that, Clayton. I don't think, look, you can convey that opinion. I don't think we're without hope, but I just don't think hope is good enough. We shouldn't be going into a season with hope. We should be going into it with a little bit more than that. As I say, I feel like we're going into this season in the hope of a glow-up, in the hope that what we had last year is going to be better. I don't think there's been any punishment for last season, by the way. I think this is another great point. You finish 15th and you lose a cup final to Spurs where you don't even turn up. Basically, go on holiday, lads, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Who from that Europa League final and season has been punished for that? And when I say punished, I don't mean like, take their wages off them or anything like that. I mean, who's been booted out of the team? Every single one of them, except for Garnacho, has been given another chance. You record, it's on your Wikipedia page, lads. Worst ever Man United side by about 15, 16 points. Disgusting. And you've all been invited back. I don't get that. I don't understand Sir Jim Radcliffe and Joel Glazer on that one. I don't understand how, as an owner of a football club, you're allowing some of these players to come back. You look weak. You look really weak. If I ran a football club and that had been served up to me over a season, I'd have been like, there is no way some of those players are coming back into this team. And there was a question in the press conference about Luke fucking Shaw being world class. Like, there was a question in the press conference about, I think it was a plant actually. I think that was a sponsored question. I couldn't believe it. Of all the players to talk about, there was a question about Luke Shaw. And then Amorim goes on to say, I didn't even mention it in the reaction, yeah, world-class player when he touches the ball. Touches the ball? He has trouble touching the bloody floor. He's always lying down on the bloody treatment table. Anyway, world-class player when he touches the ball. He's played 2 finals for England. Yeah, didn't play the semis. But he needs to train and be fit. I mean, what? Why? I mean, I said the press conference questions were terrible. I can't believe I didn't even bring that one in. Why would you walk into a Ruben Amorim press conference and talk and waste your question on Luke Shaw? But then I think, are we being played here? Is life the Truman Show? Is this just a script? Why would you talk about Luke Shaw in an interview? Like, why would that be your question? I could think of 20 players I'd talk about before Luke Shaw, but it probably evidences what we're trying to sell. We're trying to repackage what we've had for years. How many years has Luke Shaw been here, by the way? And we're still talking about Luke Shaw. It's like Victor Lindelof, 8 years of Lindelof. And we're still repackaging the same stuff that has proved it's not good enough for whatever reason, whether it is injury, inconsistency or whatever. Caleb says, I feel Amorim is looking to play Bruno in the 10 during the AFCON and Mainu in the midfield. I mean, look, that I'll come back to that one in a moment because he might be sacked by then. According to some of you lot, Amorim might be sacked by then. You can't, look, agree with me, disagree with me. You can't plan a season like that. You can't say in December, I'm going to use Bruno as a 10 and Mainu as a midfielder. I mean, what if Mainu's broken his leg? You know, what if Bruno's injured? Like, you can't. What if you've been sacked because you've lost 10 games already? Like, you can't look at a season like that. Dale, I've not missed any super chats. I've just not been through them yet. Have some patience. Nick P says, when the words "the good times are coming" came out of Amorim's mouth, I laughed. And here he is already backtracking. The Glazers deserve awards for the amount of managers they've shafted, says Nick P. Well, yeah, I mean, look. You know what? I don't think Amorim should be ridiculed or laughed at. I think at the end of a season like that, when you're handed a microphone, you have to try and inspire. You have to give our great fan base something to go on into the summer with. And he gave you hope and optimism. He gave you defiance. I can't remember what the direct quote was, but the good times are coming. You know, the suffering is over. That was sort of the message, wasn't it? And maybe at the end of May, he genuinely believed that. I certainly don't think for 1 minute he thought he was going to be starting the season with Cunha and Mbeumo as his only signings. But, you know, if you don't, you look, we can all head on holiday with optimism, but you eat a dodgy burger on the second night and you might have the shits for days. It might not be the holiday you thought. So I can't knock Amorim for going into the summer transfer window with believing that it couldn't get any worse and the good days were coming. But again, we've heard those words of suffering and, you know, an attitude that maybe not be as good. If you're going to buy a stake in a revered club like United, you'd be better willing to commit the resources to improve the club. I saw something actually, Paul. I'll give them a shout out actually. Let me see if I can just read this. Just caught my eye just before we went live actually. It was Swedish Rumble on X. Basically, in the last hour, Chelsea FC Holdings have issued 1,000 shares for £339 million. That's putting money into the club. So Swedish Rumble says this brings the total contribution to Chelsea from Todd Boehly to over £1 billion. Chelsea also have zero debt. Ineos have contributed $300 million to United since they invested in the club, but United are well over £1 billion in debt. How can anyone expect United to compete if Chelsea is free of debt and gets $1.4 billion from its owners, and United is $1 billion in debt and gets $300 million from its owners? I mean, it's just, the disparity is incredible, isn't it? Now, I don't know whether those are bang on accurate, but, you know, give or take a little bit. You've got one ownership that's pumping $1 billion in. You've got another ownership that's pumping $1 billion out. No wonder Ruben Amorim sat there saying, I might have to get on with what I've got. PC Gamertag says, stick to plan, got replaced by Suffer, that's it, says PC Gamertag. I think Jackson is the missing piece of... Okay, I'm not even reading it, Kanishka. It's a Friday night. It's my show. I am reading it. Would you buy Tammy Abraham? I wish I hadn't read that one, Dale. At the end of the season, better Dan's days are coming. Today we will suffer. Amorim's the next Glinios victim, says Desiree. We would be even worse if Cunha didn't have a release clause. Absolutely shocking from United, says Lee Berman. Would you have gone for Evan Ferguson, says Alex? I think a few years ago, yes. For whatever reason, he seems to have lost his way. I don't know whether it's injury or not. Hope isn't a strategy, says Daryl Street. And I will give this season a miss mark, may as well, says Carlos. That's very negative. What's your thoughts on Guirassy from Dortmund, says Omar? I mean, when we were linked to him a couple of years ago, I probably should have done it. Rory says, stop comparing us to the top four, be realistic. You do know what our name is, Rory. It's Manchester United. So tell me, I'll tell you what, Rory, I'll give you an opportunity to come back. What's realism? Stop. So what Rory is saying is that Manchester United should not compare themselves to Liverpool, our biggest rival in history. We should not compare ourselves to Manchester City, our city rival. You are seriously saying that? You know, when Liverpool didn't win the Premier League for 30 years, do you think they stopped seeing Man United as a rival? Come on. Even if this wasn't Amorim's first transfer window, Cunha and Mbeumo isn't enough for us to make progress, says Mike. No, they are very good signings. And I think what the toxic positivity crew are doing is they're taking good signings and pretending that that's enough. We needed 5, not 2. Doesn't matter how good the 2 is, we needed 5. We've got 2. So, yes, we can express our concerns whilst also being very happy with Mbeumo and Cunha. That's called being not being somebody that deals in absolutes. That's called being realistic. Not everything is totally bad and not everything is totally good. We're so screwed it's depressing to see, says Ivor. I mean, I don't actually, Clayton sort of said this as well. There's not a lot of optimism. My stance is not one of everything being bad, as I sort of hinted to there. But my stance is not one of positivity either. Mine is one of confusion and concern. We will surely be better than last season. We will surely start to understand this system. And we will surely still bring in two or three more players after the season has started. But what damage is it going to do as not being prepared again? I think that I really hope next season I don't say this, but I know I will because I do it every May. We've got to get the signings in early because it's so important to get your players in early. I mean, if you're Frimpong, Kirkes, Zubimendi, Eze, all these players, they've been at their clubs for weeks. Weeks. And we probably haven't even bought. I mean, it's scary, but 50% of our summer transfer window probably isn't even here yet, if we get it. And we always pay for not getting our deals done early. Anthony was a late deal. Casemiro was a late deal. Ugarte was a late deal. Amrabat was a late deal. And, well, look how that went. You know, most of those players didn't have a good first season. I think Casemiro did, but that's probably slightly different when you look at the age profile and the quality of the player. Caleb says, I feel like Amorim is looking to play Bruno in the 10 during the AFCON and Mainu in the midfield. We definitely need to sign at least 2 more players, goalkeeper and CDM. I mean, I answered that, Caleb, didn't I? I think it's way too far ahead to be planning that sort of stuff. Dale, don't worry about it. Is Mount now new George Best or is Delo next Lahm, says Kanishka. Okay, you're on the road to being not answered as well. We should sign and look, appreciate people who put comments in, but we do have a policy here that if you talk utter nonsense, we don't have to waste seconds because we don't have that long. We should sign another 10, and don't blame me. This was something that was written into the annals of the United Stand community many years ago. So if you're new, sorry, but that's always been part of the community. We won't waste our time on total shit. We should just sign another 10, but Bruno, put Bruno or me in net, says Pete Phillips. Mike says, why the idiots in charge would invest in team? We are getting nowhere fast and they don't care. Well, I care and I'm disgusted not backing Amorim. This is a good, actually. I always like a good poll. Do you feel Amorim has been backed? It's a very simple question. It doesn't have any, context other than at this moment in time, do you feel Amorim's been backed? Now, remember, he has had £120 million spent on him. Mbeumo was 65 million and Cunha was 62. So actually, he's had 127 million. I like both players. I would question why we've spent 100. I've already said this before. I like Cunha and I like Mbeumo, but if I had 127 million pounds, I'd have spent it differently. Does that make me bad? Does that make me controversial? Do you agree? I like Mbeumo. I like Cunha. I think they're really good signings, but if you're giving me 127 million pounds, I'd have spent it differently. I wouldn't have started the season with that. I wouldn't have started the season like that. They both should be Man United players, but I wouldn't have gone with my first 127 million, get me those two. I could have got one of them. I'm not saying I don't want them. What I'm saying is I could start the season with Cunha and Ahmad and Xerxes and Mount. I could get by without Mbeumo till the end of the window. And I could have brought a goalkeeper or a striker. It confuses me a little bit why we've spent 127 million pounds on those two first. We should have done it in a different order, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. Or to put it another way, if I've only got 127 million pounds, I probably only buy one of them. And then I get a midfielder and a goalkeeper, or a striker and a goalkeeper. I can't lie. Him saying Luke Shaw is world class worried me, but maybe you have to read between the lines. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, Captain T1, I've always said that Luke Shaw is world class. I don't know whether I've uttered the words world class, but I have always over the years said that Luke Shaw is one of the best left backs in the world when he's fit. So if Amorim is saying that, then I'd be a hypocrite not to agree. However, where's the evidence that Luke Shaw's world class in the last 2 years? Because that's where I'd agree with him. I thought he was shite at the end of last season. He was crap in the final and basically cost us a goal. He was crap in other games before that. So he may well have been world class, and he may well be world class again. But from what I saw at the end of last season, he wasn't world class. He was pure ass. Bit of a rhyme. No, yeah, look, I like Luke Shaw as a player. I don't know him as a person. I don't need to. It's never about that. It's about the player. And obviously disgusted by the injuries, disgusted that he got himself fit to play a final for England, then got injured again for Man United. And, you know, I think it's shocking how that was swept under the carpet. The player himself should have apologised, in my opinion. But bygones be bygones. When he actually did get fit again, I thought he was shit. I don't think, you know, Ruben Amorim can say he's world class, but what did he say at the end? He needs to be fit, and I think that's going to be very, very difficult. I really do. I think somebody said the other day, yeah, but Luke Shaw's been fit all of pre-season, and I thought, you do realise what pre-season is? It's not as intense. The tackles are different. Like, I would expect him not to get injured in pre-season, but let's see how long he lasts when the real games start. I can't. That was from Captain T1. We have been a gamble on players' teams for 12 years, says La Familia. Hope you're doing well. It's me, says sorry, they've gifted a membership. Thank you very much. Watch the presser again, says Yanni. Amorim said he was happy the players he has are committed. He didn't say he was happy with the current squad. Don't mislead. Do you want me to? Do you want to get a comfy push? Do you want to get a comfy cushion? Comfy cushion. Do you want to get a comfy cushion? If I start the season with this squad, I will be happy. What are you struggling with that? So you're saying he didn't say he was happy with the current squad, and his direct sentence is, "If I start the season with the squad, I will be happy." Sorry, mate. You know, it's one of those, isn't it? You know, sometimes people get in the ring with Tyson Fury and they get knocked out. Some people give it the big one and they get beaten at chess. Unfortunately, you've stepped in. You've had a go. I respect you for that. You've said he didn't say he was happy with the current squad. Don't mislead. I said, he said, and I quote, "If I start the season with this squad, I will be happy." Boom. Don't come on here and lie. Mojo says, "As sickening." I love it when I love it when a plan comes together. Don't you? I don't want to be the smug guy, but you know, you do take a lot of shit doing this, and you do make mistakes. And I wouldn't be surprised if Yanni was actually right. But it's so nice when you double fact check and you're right. It is nice. We would all agree, unless you wanted Yanni to win. But Mojo says, "As sickening as it might seem, I fear is signing a striker and a midfield on loan or someone who is a free agent." Well, it's funny you should say that. It's funny you should say that because I don't know where it came from. I think it was Sport Witness saying that Douglas Luiz could be allowed to leave Juventus on a loan to buy. So, look, I'd do that. And I do actually wonder why we don't do that more. Lots of clubs do loan deals. Like, look, Rashford, Villa. Anthony, Betis. Rashford, Barcelona. We should be all over that. I'd be comfortable buying him. If we can get him on loan, even better. Try before you buy. We did it with Amrabat, didn't we? We did it with Sabitzer. So I wouldn't mind doing that because, to be honest with you, you don't have to necessarily buy them, do you? Red Devil Rooney says, I think we should avoid a striker in the window as I really believe Rasmus and Xerxes will be naturally better, produce more. Should be all over a goalkeeper, says Red Devil Ronnie. You know what I think that is, Red Devil Ronnie? You know what I think that is? I think it's an illness. And I've seen a lot of people with these symptoms. Because the season's about to start, and because they want to be optimistic, they want to believe in the glow-up. They want to believe that last season didn't happen. And they want to believe that all those players last season that didn't perform are suddenly going to come back from Greece or Mallorca or LA or Dubai with magical powers and be decent. And you're not the only person to say that. There's a lot of people who are acting like this. I've heard people saying it about Delo. I've heard them saying it about Mount. I've definitely heard them saying it about Xerxes and Rasmus. You know, we don't need a striker. We've got Xerxes and Rasmus. It won't be long before those people are going, we don't need a goalkeeper. I actually think Onana could win the Ballon d'Or. It's a common illness, and it's called positivity, because you can't face the truth. Denial. Yeah? That's not an Irish person going to Egypt talking about that river, but it's actually something called denial, where you are in denial. Like you can't, you're ignoring the reality to paint a new, you're treating the players from last year that didn't perform like new signings. As I said, you might be right. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but what you can't tell me is that what you're basically doing is you're hoping or placing your trust in a glow-up. We spoke about this a couple of minutes ago. Basically, those people who say we don't need a striker, we've got Xerxes and Rasmus, or we don't need a midfielder, we've got Agate and Kobe, those people are basically saying all the players that underperformed last year are going to perform this year. That's a hell of a lot, you know. Statistically, it's very, very difficult. That's a hell of a lot of players that have got to suddenly be consistent. And that word needs to come back into the vocabulary, people. Consistency. We have struggled with consistency for years. And what you're basically saying is, we don't need to buy any players. The inconsistent players from last year are suddenly going to be consistent. And I don't think people are talking about that. Because I don't for 1 minute think, let's use Delo as an example. I think Delo's got the right attitude. I think he wants to be at the football club. I think he's talented. Is he consistent? No. No, he isn't. And there's plenty of players like that. Some people would argue Bruno's not consistent. Good luck with that. But there's plenty of players at Man United that can be brilliant and then total shit, which basically reflects Manchester United. We can beat anybody on our day, but as we know, the flip side to that is we can lose to anybody on our day. Now, if we're going into the season with the same team as last year, plus Cunha and Mbeumo, they're 2 players out of 11. If those other 9 players can't be consistent, are we going to lose games? And this is my big concern. We're not making enough changes to the team from last year. And we're basically relying on a glow-up that they're going to be good players and find consistency. It's not just about understanding the system. Amorim might teach them the system, but can they perform in the system every week? That's a personal thing. Amorim might teach some of these players the system that they couldn't understand last year, but can they perform week in, week out? Can they stay fit week in, week out? That's a big, big ask. It's not impossible, but it's slightly miraculous to take a bunch of players that really struggled in his system, teach them the system, and then make those players that are also inconsistent, consistent. Very, very difficult job. Let's hope he can do it. And of course, it starts tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. These next 3 games are all Premier League games. You know, hopefully we'll start to see some goals. Has he been told to toe the company line, Mark, says Dale? Well, this was something other people were saying. You know, Erik ten Hag in his 2nd season came back like a different man. He suddenly was not speaking openly and not speaking the truth and was towing the party line. We've only seen one interview from Amorim, and most of the questions he asked were crap. Is he towing the party line? I think it's very hard to say that he was. I'd have to hear more from him. I mean, look, he mentioned the word suffer, didn't he? On the other hand, he did say he'd be happy with this squad if this is how it starts. We didn't detect any mutiny. And, to be honest, if I was him, I'd be feeling quite mutinous. I'd be feeling quite pissed off. To be honest with you, you know what? The question at the start was, are you happy going into the season with this squad? And Amorim apparently is. I'd be furious if I was him. I'd be absolutely furious. Sir Jim Radcliffe has said that him and Amorim fall out a lot, but they have a good relationship. I mean, I would be fuming. I'd be absolutely fuming. I'd be saying, we finished 15th. The top 4 is where we want to be. They're miles better than us, and they've all spent way more than us over the summer. How do you want this to work, Sir Jim? What is it you want me to do? You brought me in halfway through a season. You gave me a kid in January. We finished 15th. We lost the final. The players aren't good enough. You said in an interview in March, I'm doing a good job with the squad I've got. Basically saying the squad's shit. Everyone goes and spends a load of money that's better than us. You give me 2 players. I've still got all the shit. What is it you want from me? Are you going to come out and say we'll do well to finish in the top 10? And if we do, then, Amorim's a genius. But if we finish 15th again, he'll still have a job. You're not going to do that. So are you setting me up to fail or what? What is it you actually want? What is it I'm actually doing? What are they expecting Amorim to do? Because if I'm Amorim, I mean, we won't know as fans, but if they're saying to Amorim we want Champions League football, I'd be saying, well, are you going to be part of that? Or am I just pulling my wand out my arse and pulling some magic trick? I don't know. I don't know. And Amorim would be entitled to ask that question of Sir Jim Radcliffe. Like, you're giving me 2 players and everybody that's better than us have strengthened better than us. What am I supposed to do? Like, just do simple equations. The team that's stronger than us has got... Let's do it. Some of you go down the gym, don't you, right? You're down the gym and you used to be quite strong. You have a back injury. Go down the doctors. They say you can't train or do anything for 6 months. You go back to the gym. You start training again. And everyone you used to be as strong as is a lot stronger than you. And then the season ends and you decide not to train in the off season and they train and they're even stronger again. It's a bit of a crap analogy, actually. In my mind, I thought it was going to work better. That's one of the worst I've ever done. I'll put my hands up. But my point is, we're talking about strength. Everybody's already stronger than us and then they've gone and pumped even more. How are we supposed to fight with them when the stronger have got stronger? It's just very, very easy to look at it and go, and look, I'm not saying it's not possible for us to get 5th, maybe 4th, I don't know. But it's highly unlikely, isn't it? It would take something very, very special of which we haven't really got the ingredients for. There's a lot of expectation against people like Cunha. Johnny says it's not the same. Johnny, I'd love to live in your head for 5 seconds because I couldn't have made it any simpler. Johnny says it's not the same. So Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle are stronger than us, Johnny. And then over the summer, they've got even stronger. It is the same because it's so simple. It's not even hard to understand. The strongest teams have got stronger than us, Johnny. So strong team over the summer has got stronger. So the gap has got bigger. It's exactly the same, Johnny. Or, if all you understand is football, Liverpool were way better than us and they've now bought better than us. So they're even better than they were at the end of last season. This is the trouble with YouTube. It lets anybody in. I definitely think they need to bring in IQ tests. Has he been told to toe the company line? We've done that. Villa and Newcastle have done zero business, says Rory. Rory, you are, I don't know who you are, but I've been doing this for a long time and I start to pick up on themes. One more and I won't answer a question because you're thick. You're really thick. Does somebody want to tell him the business that Newcastle have done this summer? Bloody hell. You're as bad as that other guy. Don't type shit. Do your research. You know, it's so easy to type in Villa and Newcastle transfer business this summer. And then it will list it for you. And then you don't have to make yourself look an absolute prat by saying Newcastle have done zero business this summer. Rory. We will lose Ahmad, Onana, Mbeumo and Mazraoui to the AFCON. That's 3 first-team right-sided players in December and January, and highlights our need for a goalkeeper option as business. I think we will bring a goalkeeper in, but not for a while. Mike JW says, it's this squad plus Mbeumo and Cunha. It's the same team who delivered 15th with 2 new players, and we have no striker, no goalkeeper, and no midfielder. Let's say that again. 15th, we finished 15th. Thank you very much, Mike, for your super chat. Happy with the squad. Onana, Amorim is a flake and a bum, says Parker. Amorim was clear. Players holding out to go for cheap and clubs trying to bargain hunt have no leverage. Move out or you'll be stuck on the bench, says Caleb. I think that's absolute bollocks, by the way. I think I will defend Amorim to the end. I will defend Amorim to the end because he should not be being asked about sales. It's not his job. And if you're asked about how important it is to sell players, as a manager, I'm going to say, look, they go for the price I want or they don't go at all. But come on. Come on. Do you really think we are going to introduce and reintegrate Anthony, Sancho and Garnacho? The club's broke. We know we're desperate. We know we'll sell them. But it was a poor question because what's he going to say? Kieran says, fans gone quiet on Glazers out since Mbeumo and fans never ever learn. Need to come together to force these clouds out, says Kieran. No ambition. But you know what, Kieran? People have been saying fans need to come together for 20 years. It's not going to change, is it? I understand your frustration, but it's not going to change. And it's people get very opinionated and angry about it. But who brings all these fans together and how? It's the age-old question that nobody can answer. And that's why the Glazers and now Sir Jim will thrive. Doesn't United's season depend if you believe they massively underperformed last season or that was their level, says Gareth? Well, yeah, it was a good point, Gareth. I mean, what you're basically saying is if we were in a false position last year, then there's reason for optimism. If we weren't in a false position last year, then maybe we're in trouble. I think last season we deserved to finish exactly where we deserved to finish. We shouldn't be finishing there, but we did. So it's very difficult to say we're in a false position. We had more than enough opportunity to get out of it. But no, we finished where we deserved to finish. And but I think we're better than that on paper. And I certainly think we're better than now with Cunha and Mbeumo. I just don't know where to pitch us at the moment. I said a couple of weeks ago, if you give me a Gyökeres or an Osimhen and a goalkeeper, I would fancy I'd give us a chance of 5th. As we are at the moment, and as I've said numerous times, and I don't think anyone can disagree with me on this, any success we have is completely based on a glow-up from players that let us down last year. And that's not taking anything away from Cunha or Mbeumo, but they're only 2 players. Doesn't matter how good you are. Look, Cunha and Mbeumo could be brilliant every week, but if 5 or 6 other players are shit every week, we're going to struggle. You're not going to be able to beat a lot of teams in the Premier League with half your team playing shit. And I think one of the things I've noticed about United over the years, and I don't know whether Amorim's aware of this, we do a player ratings show after every game, and there are numerous occasions where players don't get higher than a 7, and most of the team gets below a 6. We've got to start playing better than that. Consistently better than that. Why aren't we going for Lautaro Martinez, says Frank? I wasn't sure he's aware. Oh, Rory's back saying we've had a better window than Newcastle and Villa. Rory, I think you need to learn to construct better sentences or give your mum's credit card back, because I don't even know what that means. And in a way, you're just giving me open goals. Like, I'm scoring tap-ins here, Rory, and I like to work for my goals. We've had a better window than Newcastle and Villa. Okay, why is that? Because we've bought Mbeumo and Cunha and we've bought more players than them. Newcastle, as far as I know, have only bought Elanga, and Villa have only bought a reserve goalkeeper. But they're both in Europe, mate. One of them's in the Champions League. They're already better than us. The question is, with Cunha and Mbeumo, are we better than Newcastle? No, I don't think we are. With Cunha and Mbeumo, are we better than Villa? I mean, what? Just because we beat them the last game of the season? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But that probably puts us around 7th anyway. The point is, Rory, we're operating at a higher IQ level here. And we're not ready for the new season. And we haven't had a good enough window. And 79% of you are saying that Amorim's not been backed. Not to be that guy, please could you read my super, says London. I'm just going back through them all, mate. You don't need to remind me. They do get read. Captain says, all these deals must be taking a toll on our credit score. Instalments after instalments after instalments, says Klarma. Hi, Mark. You said before Manu won't get in the team due to Bruno. Would you accept him being sold if it means we bring a goalkeeper, a striker and a number 6 in his place? Alan, you've just put a bloody message in there that's going to get clipped because you've asked a good question. And I will throw it to everybody else as well. If Bruno's going to play every week in the number 8 position, would you sell Manu to get a goalkeeper, a striker, a number 6 in his place? Yes. I would play Manu where Bruno plays. I would play Agate and Manu, or a new midfielder and Manu, or a Casemiro and a Manu. That's what I would do. When I thought we were going to sell Bruno, I actually got quite excited that this could be Manu's chance. But if you're telling me Bruno's going to have the number 8 position every bloody week and Manu's not going to be a starter, or he's going to be a 6, I'll take the money. Nobody's bigger than the club. I'll take the money. I don't want to sell Manu, but in those circumstances, I would, yeah. What do you think about Origi? I haven't thought about him at all. Does he still play football? I know he used to play for Liverpool. No thanks, Jordan. Darren says, I'm not happy with what we have. We need a better goalkeeper striker. Can't see this getting past 15th. No, Darren, I disagree. I definitely put us in the top 10. I just don't know where between 5th and 10th. That's where I'm confused at the moment. I don't know where I pitch us, but I put us somewhere between 10th and 5th. Yusuf says, I hope you're well. You too, pal. Will Ineos actually change anything, or are us fans delusional thinking Sir Jim Ratcliffe will save the club from mediocrity? I think that's a question that's too deep for a Friday night. I mean, I would love to be on a panel with Gary Neville, Simon Jordan, and Sir Alex. That would be a great show. And I would make it an hour show, free to air on YouTube. And we literally, the conversation would be, will Manchester United be successful again under the Glazers and Ineos, and how? Starting with you, Sir Alex. I would love that. I'd love that. Sir Alex Ferguson, Simon Jordan, me and Gary Neville. Will Man United be successful under the Glazers and Ineos, and how? And have a proper debate. Because I can't get into that tonight because it's nearly 9 o'clock. But also, I think it's such an interesting conversation that needs to be debated by people with different opinions. I'd want somebody on the panel. I'll do it, says Gary, who is pro-Ineos and the Glazers. I genuinely don't... All I can keep saying is, it's a bigger question than what we're talking about here. But I don't actually know the pathway back with Ineos and the Glazers. I've seen nothing in 18 months that gives me any confidence that we're going to get back. How I think we get back may not be what they think. I think football's changed, as I've said many times, and I think you absolutely, if you've got any aspirations of winning the Champions League or the Premier Leagues in the next 20 years, you've got to get yourself in the Champions League now. Yesterday, really. That's what you've got to do. And funnily enough, Rory talks about Aston Villa and Newcastle. Well, Newcastle are in the Champions League, and they've got a half-decent squad, and Aston Villa are in the Europa League. And if I was Aston Villa, I'd be going 9th in the Premier League's fine, but we absolutely have to win the Europa League because it puts us in the Champions League. We've got to be in the Champions League. That's where we've got to be. Building a new stadium and making money off Beyonce is 5 to 10 years down the road. In 5 years, we could be bloody extinct as a big football club. We won't be extinct as a club, but as a big player, we've got to be in the Champions League now. Now, I don't know whether that's in the vocabulary of Ineos and the Glazers. What we do know from them is they've got this long-term plan, which I don't think works in football anymore, of building a stadium and making money from that. But that's a long road. That's a long, long road. I don't think Amorim is towing the party line. I think he's planting seeds, though. Things that may not go as well as I made out kind of seeds, says Nick P. Kieran, I've read that. Thank you very much. Said it before the window opened. By Christmas, we'll be playing 4-4-2 under Carrick. Unfortunate, but feels inevitable. Josh, I don't think I could do with another manager. I don't think I could. But you know what? I also know the Amorim out movement will only grow if we have bad results. But I don't think I could do it. I can't do it. Yeah. Do you think our focus is to build for the future, says EME? Yeah, I think I just covered that, yeah. Why don't you go on pre-season tours, says Brody. To be honest with you, I've always sent other people to do it and I always feel like I should go because it costs a lot of bloody money to do it, and you're basically going around fantastic cities. Chicago looks amazing. But we've just never really got into the position where you can run something like this the way we do, by everybody just, camping, going off to America. So it's like people who say, why don't you go to more Man United games? Because I do this. That's the answer. I do this. Simple as that. Judge me at your will. Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and all spent around 250 million. City 140 on 5 players. United 130 on 2 players. Champions League's never been more important, says Stig. 100%. Last season, our strikers literally couldn't score tap-ins, says Paul S. Thank you very much for your super chat. I like your profile picture as well. I don't know what cowboy you are, but I like it. Jordan says someone like Origi would do for us. Jordan, I can't believe you actually said you missed my super chat, and we found it, and it was Origi. You're in the relegation zone, Jordan. Mark says, do we need all 3 positions, but that midfielder, oh my God, says Jimmy. Look, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. West Ham, I was speaking to a West Ham fan yesterday, and he was saying he feels that their weakness is their midfield. So, look, maybe we'll do quite well tomorrow. Just get Watkins and stop pissing about, says Captain T1. I mean, look, realistically, the Leeds game didn't go as well as I thought last week, because I looked at the pre-season and I thought, you know what? Strategically, we've been quite clever here. Leeds, West Ham, Everton, Bournemouth and Fiorentina. There's nobody in there that's definitely going to beat us. Like Liverpool beat us last year, took the bloody piss out of us and comfortably beat us, and we were shit. I mean, we were shit on the tour last year, weren't we? I think this year, it's almost like strategically positive, They're all games that we should be able to score goals in and play well in. So hopefully that will start tomorrow. We can't keep giving our managers... I mean, look, Arsenal are playing Spurs next week. You normally do get difficult games on the tour. Watch us go and get beat tomorrow now. We can't keep giving our managers 2 full seasons and then sack them. Amorim needs 4 or 5 to get this right, as we are that bad. I agree, Nick. I do agree. I think that... But I said it with Ten Hag. We needed to ride the storm out and, stick with the manager. But the thing is, as much as I think Ineos want to back Amorim in relation to riding the storm, has anything really changed? I mean, look at that Mbeumo deal. We paid exactly what Brentford wanted, like we did for Harry Maguire and Leicester, like we did with Wan-Bissaka and Crystal Palace, like we did with Dortmund and Sancho. So there's always lots of talk of change, but do we ever get it? You know, when people are screaming Amorim out and the results are bad, you know it's going to be Amorim sacked, because that's just what we do. Until we see change, we won't have change. Do you think Amorim sees more value in the players coming in or the toxic players removed? Can he get more out of the players here without distractions, says Michael? Again, I think it's a great point, and it's one that takes a long time. I mean, can you get more out of Onana? No, he's limited technically. Can you get more out of Dalot? Consistency, if he can find it. Can you get more out of De Ligt? I think De Ligt had a good season, and Mazraoui. So yeah, I think they can be better in a better team, but I think they actually did quite well. Can you get more out of Yoro and Heaven? Yes, they're young players developing. Can you get more out of Maguire? No, not really. He's on the decline because of age. He can give you what he can give you. Can you get more out of Luke Shaw? No, I think he's on the decline and he's injury prone. Can you get more out of Dorgu? Yes, he's a young player. Leon, yes, he's a young player. Can you get more out of Agate if he can settle into the league and focus on the good bits? Yes. Can you get more out of Casemiro? No, he's on the decline like Maguire because of age. You get what you get. Can you get more out of Bruno at 31, moving him into a different position? I think it's tough. If you put him in as a number 10, yes, Bruno's a very good player. Can you get more out of Mainu? Yes, you can. Can you get more out of Collier? I don't know. Only Amorim knows that. Can you get more out of Ahmad? Yeah, he's on the up. Definitely. Can you get more out of Cunha and Mbeumo? Well, we already are. They're very good signings. Can you get more out of Xerxes? Yeah, he had a disjointed season last year. Can you get more out of Rasmus? I still believe you could if you wanted to. I still think you could. So there's a lot of... Can you get more out of Mount if you can keep him fit? Definitely. So I might have missed somebody, but you can get more out of this team. But how many players have I said you can? You can. It's a lot. Are you going to get more out of that volume? You might get more out of some. There's a hell of a lot of players there I've said you can get more out of. But in life, if you've got 10 things with potential, are they all going to deliver straight away? That's going to be the challenge. Pete Phillips, I'd have spent it differently too. That was my point about buying another 10 and stick one of them in the net. No balance in the squad at all. As I say, Pete, I'm very happy with Mbeumo and I'm very happy with Cunha, but I don't agree with spending £127 million on 2 number 10s when we need a goalkeeper, a striker and a midfielder. I think the balance of our transfer window could have been better. I'd have bought in a different order. Morg says, I know we need a striker, but with Mbeumo getting 20 goals last year, could he play up front? Look, I think there's a lot of people sort of saying maybe the striker's the one you go without, because the midfielder and the goalkeeper are more important. I don't have a problem with that. I think where we're all in unison is the window's not been as good as it should be, and whether we can do without a striker. We can't do without a striker, a midfielder and a goalkeeper, and they all, they should be here already. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. We're back at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with the news show. And obviously it's a watch along tomorrow night. It's a midnight kickoff. So thank you for everybody for watching. Take care and I'll speak to you later. Right, time for the after show. I mean, I nearly didn't do an after show, to be honest. But I must just say, big up to everybody who has joined the members club and given super chats tonight. But big up to everybody who actually went and found where the video was for the original Pineapple Guy. I actually have got the original video, and it was from August the 4th, 2018. So if you ever want to go and watch it, it's the original video. It's not the clip. It's the original thing, and it was entitled Alderweireld Not Enough, Man United Transfer News, from the beach in Mallorca. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Just realised it's the after show, so I can do it. Let's remove that. And full uncut Mallorca pineapple seller video. There it is. Well, there it is. I'll pin it for you as well. Yeah, AI said it was staged. Absolutely not. I refute that. I really, really do. I don't know what to talk about tonight. I was trying to think. Loads of things happened to me today, and I can't think what it was. Somebody said, "How are you planning for your game for the game tomorrow?" Well, it's midnight. It's not like you need to go to sleep. I think Thursday night we're playing Bournemouth at 2:30 in the morning. That's a little bit. That's a tough one. That is. I think it's easier if it's 3:30 in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning because you can actually get into bed at 11 and have a couple of hours. But yeah, 2:30 in the morning is a bit of a kicker. But that I don't need to worry about that. Midnight's fine. And Papa Green says, "You wanker." Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen the new South Park video yet. 80. Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow night's midnight, isn't it? I think. I don't know whether I'll do an 8 o'clock show. Might just start at 11. It seems a little bit silly to do an 8 o'clock show tomorrow. Maybe just start at 11. But yeah, be absolutely fine. Yeah, Amelie says you're going to do an 8 o'clock show tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Might just start at 11 and do it that way. What are you watching on the telly at the moment? Well, I'm watching you lot at the moment. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Alderweireld, I know. Yeah. Is Beth doing a pre-match show, says Tony. She's in the States at the moment. Chicago looks amazing, by the way. I want to go to the States again. Obviously, I went to New York in June. And loads of people say you need to go to Chicago. It looks incredible. It really does. A lot of Batman was filmed in Chicago, wasn't it? Get the beers in for tomorrow night, Mark, says Rico. I'll already have had a few on. I'll already have had a few anyway, because I think I'm going to go out tomorrow night. And then I'll do the show as well. But Chicago does look good, says Lee. Yeah, it does. Got any stories, Mark? I don't know. I haven't really prepared for this one tonight. I'll tell you what, I've really been tired this week. That's the problem. It's not on MUTV tomorrow. It's on Sky, isn't it? It's the Sky Super Series or something. So I don't think it's even being showed on MUTV. But I'll be watching it on Sky anyway because it'll be quicker than a streaming service. But yeah. What about the... You need to have a glass of champers. Shall I pour myself a glass of champers tomorrow just to prove how much I bloody hate it? So midnight tomorrow for kickoff, I'll have a glass of champers and I'll go, champers! And I'll taste... I bloody hate champagne. I don't know why it is. I think it's the working class in me that I just don't like champagne. It's almost like my taste buds are repelling the upper classness of it because, you know, I'm a working class hero who's come from humble backgrounds, who had a paper round and, you know, used to go to school with holey socks and muddy trousers when working class was working class. But no, I can't stand champagne. Linda loves it. I'm not surprised, Linda. I think Mrs. Goldbridge likes it, actually. Well, she must do. There's bloody loads of it in the house. But Moet, a bottle of Moet. No, I don't know what it is. I've never really liked the taste of it. And I've never really changed. I used to hate gin. I don't mind a gin and tonic now. But no, I just don't like champagne. It's just, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Luke says, why does Beth go to pre-season but you're at home? It's the second person to ask this question. Why does it bother you, Luke? It's really just not that deep. We're all part of a team and I'm good at what I do and Beth's really good at that. So I just think strong people for strong. I wouldn't be very good at standing there trying to get players to come over for an interview. Some of them would not come over. So I think that it works, and that's why we've got such a great community. You and Seb should do a duo United Stand news show, says Christian. It would be good fun. It would be good. Are you doing a preview for the game? I've sort of ran out of time, if I'm being honest. Why am I being asked stuff about football? This is not what this is meant to be, even though it is the United Stand. What are you going to watch tonight? Oh, serious question, actually. Now, this is not because I went on it today and was like, what's going on, and got really frustrated. But if you know, you know, and some people are going to pretend they don't know. But I saw it on X from an MP in the UK. This is how I found out about it. Don't be making accusations. So from today in the UK, if you want to go onto certain websites that PORN, hub, or UPORN, I don't know why I'm spelling it out because even a bloody 14-year-old can spell that. I may as well just say it. So all the porn sites in the UK now, if you go on them, and you must be over 18, you shouldn't be going on them anyway if you're not over 18, you used to be able to just go on them, apparently, and, have a look, and it would, remember what you've looked at, apparently. Well, now, you have to put your email address in, and there's verification. I mean, personally, if I did use those websites, I would have been very frustrated today when I had a spare 10 minutes to have a little look, and I've got to spend time putting in an email and coming up with another bloody password. So I understand people's frustration that do that sort of thing because, sometimes you just got to grab 5 minutes and you haven't, you might only have 5 minutes. And then you go on there and you go, what's all this about bloody emails and, verification codes? Fortunately, I wasn't in that position because I don't do that sort of thing. So I actually just read it on the BBC website or actually, I didn't. Been caught out already. I saw it on Twitter. Yeah. Look, what are my thoughts on it? Honestly, I've got to be careful what I say. It's just, I can't believe in 2025 things get harder. Ba-dum-dum. That would have been a great A. No, but I seriously don't think that, I don't think when you're going on those types of websites that you should be having to sign in and stuff like that because you might be under 18. I think that's a load of bollocks. As I keep saying, things just seem to get harder in when you're on a porn site. No, when you things are just more difficult now. There's just people out there making everybody's life more difficult. It used to be a lot easier when when we didn't have the internet and you just knew where the magazines were. Yeah, it's this is when Surfshark comes into play. You river danced for 30 seconds, go for a full minute. That was actually quite good. I'm surprised I've not seen it on TikTok yet because it did look like I was going across. Give us a story of the most haunted thing you've ever experienced. Mate, I ain't even bloody joking. I don't know whether I told you this. So, Christmas. It's about, at Christmas, I normally change my whole pattern for 2 or 3 weeks. It's the one time of the year I just really relax. And what I mean by that is I have a sleep pattern that I normally adhere to. Not like Gary Neville. I'm not in bed at 9 o'clock, obviously. But what I mean is, let's say I very rarely stay up past midnight and I'll get up at 6:30 or something like that. But at Christmas, I'll stay up till 1, 2 in the morning and get up late because I just think, we're only here once and it's a nice time of the year to do that. So I'd been watching The Revenant, which is it's a brilliant film, The Revenant, but it's quite atmospheric and lonely. It's quite a lonely film, actually. And Mrs. Goldbridge was asleep next to me. And it was about 1:45 in the morning. Maybe, 1:45, maybe 1:45 in the morning. And I was like, it just finished. And it's quite an atmospheric film at the end. And then it's dark. And I thought, I need the toilet. So I went to the toilet. And as I walked out the toilet, I can look down the hallway. And I'm looking down the hallway about 10 meters. Well, no, it's my hallway. About 30 meters. No, about 10 meters. Our house is quite long and thin. And it's got quite a long hallway upstairs. And when it's dark, but you can see in the dark, I'm looking down the hallway and there's a Wi-Fi router about 10 meters from me with a blue light on it. So it gives off a little bit of light. I'm not joking. There's this shape in front of the Wi-Fi router and it looks like a 6-year-old child on its knees like that. I'm feeling sick now. That's exactly what I did. It wasn't fear. It was just, I wanted to be sick. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And I turned the light on, and it was so strange. It was a box with a Sainsbury's bag on it, but the Sainsbury's bag was up because it had stuff in it. And I turned the light off again, and it still looked like this little child praying. And obviously it wasn't. I was just like, oh. I was like, oh. I've moved into a house that's haunted. But yeah, I did actually just feel like I was going to vomit. It wasn't even fear. It was just like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah. But when I was younger, my mate used to live... I need to do a video around where I grew up, actually, because it's quite rural. It's quite funny. But he used to... I lived in a place called Cropple Bishop, and it was... He lived at the top of this hill, and then you went down into the, like, village, and I lived on the other side of the village. But I say village, I don't know what it was, because it's not really a village. It was about... I think it probably had about 1,000 houses in it. So I don't know if it was a town. Anyway, he had a better computer than me, so we'd always be up at his house playing computer games. And on a Saturday night, I'd probably stay there till about 11 o'clock. And because it was a village / small town, it would be quite quiet. So I would sometimes have to walk home. And I used to walk home, sprint home, down the middle of the road. Absolutely terrified. So happy United is in Chicago. I've lived here for 5 years and I confirm it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Love you, Mark. Stanley. I definitely want to visit. Loving the after show. Shampers, says T. How do I get in contact with Ricky for some match beers in Chicago, says Michael. If you tell me, I mean, obviously I can't give Ricky's number out. I mean, that would be hilarious. But how would we do that, Michael? Because it sounds very simple. I mean, I can tell him, but I don't know. I can message him, and he'd love to do it. Are you going on the slide tomorrow? Yes, Linda. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to do a show and go down the slide. I just need to check what weather is. What are you doing now, Mark? Talking to you. No, I don't know what I'm going to do later. I'm going to either watch Moneyball. Oh, it could be raining tomorrow, Linda. We're looking... It's touch and go at 2 o'clock. 20 degrees, 14% chance of rain. Oh, I'll tell you what, one of my mates has gone to Mallorca and he messaged me. And he said the weather's crap. It keeps raining. And... I'm not going to say it because I could jinx it for myself, but isn't it horrible when people that you don't actually like that much go on holiday and then the weather's crap? It really is horrible, isn't it? You know, some people would actually find it funny when people that you don't really like go on holiday and then they get crap weather, but not me. I actually feel quite sympathetic towards them. I'm going to the Stockport Pyramid tomorrow, says Lee. Oasis tonight at Wembley, and I actually got offered tickets to go tonight, and I said no. So, why did you say no? I've seen, you know what it is with Oasis? I've seen them so many times, and I think it's great. I know loads of people who've seen them a lot who are going to see them again. But I really do think it's great for the next generation who never got to see them to go and see them. Nah, I'm not really that, you know, I'm not really interested in it. Not really interested in it. I've watched a few videos of them. They're very good, but I've seen it all before. Did I see them at Slane? I don't think I see them at Slane. I definitely did see them in Ireland a couple of times. Lansdowne Road, I saw them at. Hallelujah, says Mrs. Stone. Thank you. Mark. Thank you very much. Hello from Malta, says Jordan. Let us know where you're watching from. What's the one place in the world you'd like to go? And don't say between Margot Robbie's legs, because that she'd have to invite you. I would like to go... There's so many places I'd like to go. I'm definitely not going to say something hip like the moon. I tell you what I would never do as well. I saw a Netflix documentary on that bloody, you know, them people who went down to the Titanic and they basically, it disintegrated in, they wouldn't have even known it. It was the pressure would have just disintegrated them. I can't remember what it was called. I mean, they basically went down with a PlayStation controller in a bloody dustbin, didn't they, really? Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Fair play to people who do that. So it's imploded, didn't it? Yeah. Fair play to people who want to do stuff like that, but God, no. I wouldn't be doing anything like that. Ocean Gate, that was it. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy a submarine either. I mean, who would? I don't mean like in a sex way. I mean, I just wouldn't fancy being in a submarine. I don't like that. I don't know whether I'm claustrophobic. I don't think I am claustrophobic. I just don't like being in confined spaces, which is claustrophobia. No, I don't think I am claustrophobic, because there are certain things where I quite like, you know, being wrapped up. Again, not sexual. But yeah, I don't like the idea of being in a submarine deep down. I don't like that. You should play a bit of GTA. I should play a bit. I tell you what, I should do this whilst playing GTA. That would be very good. Chicago to watch United because they aren't playing in Seattle, says Mrs. Stone. Lovely stuff. Enjoy it. I watched American Werewolf in London as a kid and said I would never go to the UK, says Jimmy Jack. What film? Is it because the Oasis are City fans? No. When Jaden leaves, you oil up, says Pablo. Can't help but feel pessimistic about the season, says Garrett. Stop bringing us back into the season. What film left the most indelible mark on you? I would say Jurassic Park. It was shit. No, I didn't mind Jurassic Park. I'm trying to think what film impacted me the most. Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street. That bothered me. Like, that bothered me big time. And the reason it bothered me is I've always liked my sleep. And I couldn't sleep. Like, I must have watched Freddy when I was about... Nightmare on Elm Street. I must have watched it when I was about 11. And I used to love it when I was 11. If, like, my stepdad used to play football on a Saturday. My mum used to look after... I think she had, like, a horse or something. So Saturday afternoon, no one would be in the house. So I'd get the Sabutio out, get myself a big pint of Coke. Not hard drugs, you know, like Coca-Cola. Put Soccer Saturday on, and that'd be me in the house on my own, loving it, absolutely loving it. Well, watched Freddy, and I couldn't be on my own. I could not be on my own. I didn't want to be in the house on my own. Mum would go, I'm going to the horses. You hate it. I'll love it. I'll love it. I'll come out and I'll come and mop up the shit or whatever it is, muck out. I'll do it. I'll just for about a week, wouldn't leave anybody's side. I just started secondary school because we watched it at a sleepover, and I remember even saying to my mum, "Can I put a camp bed next to your bed?" And she was like, "Do you think that's a little bit weird?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to watch what you're doing or anything like that. I'm lonely." I wasn't lonely. I was absolutely shit scared. And I literally used to go to bed at night, and I remember having like 2 coffees trying to stay awake. It really left a mark on me, because if you've never watched Nightmare on Elm Street, this was this bloody Freddy Krueger thing who used to get you when you were asleep. So I was absolutely terrified. But then it's a bit like anything, isn't it? One day I just woke up and went, this is stupid, and just got the Sputio out, and you know, that was it. But for about a week I was absolutely terrified by that film. I think that's the worst one. I mean, Jaws left a mark on me. I wasn't bitten by a shark, but like I was forced to watch Jaws when I was about 4. So you put a 4-year-old in front of Jaws, being forced to watch it with the music, and you're gonna shit yourself. But yeah, Freddy was one. Herbie scared me. You know the car, Herbie? Have you ever seen Herbie Rides Again? It's a Disney film. That I had nightmares about that. I couldn't go near a Volkswagen Beetle. I thought it was going to eat me. I was a little bit younger then, but probably 10. But no, I genuinely did not like Herbie. And it's meant to be a fun film, and I hated it. It actually scared me. Not as much as Jaws, but I did not like it. Did not like it at all. You know where you used to pop the bonnet? Hated it. It was just a nice car that used to get into trouble and scrapes, but I hated it. Terrified of it. Ashish has gifted 20 memberships. I watched American Psycho the other day. I actually quite liked it, and I enjoyed the book, but it takes you to dark places. Have you ever seen Reservoir Dogs, says OTG? I have. I love it. I tell you what film I don't like watching, Casino, because you know where he gets battered with the baseball bats and then buried alive with his brother. That's quite. When I first watched that, I was like, oh god. And I don't like the Saving Private Ryan one where he slowly puts the knife into him as well. I'll be all right watching them now. I just didn't used to like them, you know. Favorite film, Heat. Godfather. I actually do like Jaws now. I really love the film. I think it's brilliant. I really, really do. Love it, love it, love it. How you feel now if you watch Herbie? That'd be fine. Nothing could be more traumatic than watching Man United lose 4-1 against Fulham at home. The worst one I watched was Liverpool 7-0. That one, hard to do. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Enjoyed that tonight. I like Scream. That's one of my favourite horrors. I like Scream. It's just enjoyable. Yeah. I tell you what I did watch the other night. Oh my God. I watched Jaws 2. That's not too... Jaws is brilliant. It's a classic. Jaws 2 is nowhere near as good, but it's watchable as a sequel. Jaws 3 is just shit. Like the shark, because they did it in 3D, it's rubbish. It's actually rubbish. It's absolute shite. I watched it the other night. I don't know why they're playing it. It's on nearly all the time on ITV. It is scary, Daniel. I remember watching that. Yeah, it was scary because I don't like clowns. I remember when I was a kid, actually, I had these 4 pictures in my room, small pictures with red frames, and it was 4 different clowns. And I don't know why they're in my room, because I fucking hate clowns. I do not like clowns. That's not unusual, by the way. But it was 4 different clowns. One had a hat on. I don't like them. I don't like clowns. Yeah. I never liked them. Can you watch October Sky with Seb? It's really inspiring. This should be a Twitch stream. Build. Okay, I will do. It looks all right, that, yeah. All right, thanks, everyone. Remember, it's a watch-along tomorrow. I'm back with you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning as well. Take care, everyone. Lovely week with you on the 8 o'clock shows. All the shows are great, but love the 8 o'clocks, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care. The Game's a great film, Random IT Guy. Definitely watch The Game. Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. It's brilliant, especially if you've never seen it.